Good afternoon, beautiful people. In this video, we are going to talk about animals and our relationship and responsibility towards these lovely, beautiful, cute beings. All right, so let's get started. Animals are living beings, in case you didn't know, you didn't notice, in case you've been living under a rock. Animals are very much living beings. They are alive, they have nervous systems of their own. Some are more complex than others. They feel pleasure, they feel and sense pain. They, depending again on which animal species, they have been shown to experience complex emotions like jealousy. If you have a dog, or a few dogs, maybe you've noticed that some of your dogs are jealous of the other dogs, or if you just observe dog behavior, cat behavior, so of course there are varying complexities to the emotions that these animals experience, but it is, without a question, without a doubt, very obvious that they are living beings that are experiencing and feeling emotions, sensations, okay? And that makes them very much relatable to us humans, because we also happen to feel emotions, we happen to experience pleasure, we happen to experience pain, right? So automatically we can relate to the animal kingdom because we feel and they feel, okay? So are humans and animals, in the animal kingdom, animals, I'm talking about just all varying degrees of life in a being that moves, okay? So that's, animal, animated, right? The word animal comes from the word animated, meaning animated, can move, right? Plants are living beings. It's just that this tree doesn't have legs, can't suddenly walk, okay? So that's pretty much what makes an animal an animal. So I guess human is a form of animal. And now the burning question is, are humans and animals the same? Are they pretty much the same? Should we hold humans to the same reference point, to the same expectations as animals? And many people do. Many people say human is an animal. It's a Homo sapien, it's an animal. And therefore, we ought to observe other animals, and we ought to act like other animals, or we ought to, imitate other animals because we're an animal too. So, if animals do certain things, humans should do a certain thing. So for instance, if animals kill one another, we should also kill one another. If animals eat one another, we should eat one another, right? And that's where, the very fact that I am speaking to you, and the very fact that you're listening to me, and the very fact that we are contemplating this existence as humans, that automatically ought to tell you something, that humans are relative to the rest of the animal kingdom quite unique. Now, of course, if you look at a horse, you compare a horse to a fish, or a shark, or you compare a shark to a snake, they're unique too, they're different. But they all seem to be kind of doing the same thing. Surviving, looking for food, looking for shelter if need be. Not all animals are looking for shelters, but there's always, like, I was watching this tiger documentary, and they like to hang out this like rock, like there's like a rock thing, a den that they like to hang around underneath to protect themselves from rain and etc. So even, you see this common behavior. They're pretty much looking for shelter, looking for food. They are looking to spread their DNA, and they do it in certain seasons, okay? They have mating seasons, and then in the off seasons they just don't have sex at all. Now compare that, and of course there are exception cases, but if you observe the animal kingdom, that seems to be the tendency, the overall tendency. But if you look at humans, yes, parts of us are acting the same way. I mean, we reproduce, we are just like other mammals, we have sex, we pass on our DNA. We're very much like other animals. We're looking for food. We're building shelters. But I mean, humans are so much more than that. Okay, so much more than that. I mean, look, we could choose to have sex regardless of the mating season. We humans don't really have a mating season, and in fact, most humans are having sex for pleasure, which can be observed in some animals, but it's rare. It can be observed in some apes, some monkeys, but still in the animal kingdom, it's rare for animals to just be like, hey, let's just bang and let's do nofap, right? Let's do tantra, let's have tantra, right? It's very rare. In fact, animals in the vast majority of cases are having sex because the program of nature says, well, now it's time to pass on your DNA so that the species can keep going. So they go and the males in the vast majority of cases in the animal kingdom, with certain exceptions, they bust their nut. Whereas us humans were like, wait, we shouldn't do that, because we're going to save our energy and we're going to ascend the vibrations. We're going to ascend the energy up. We're going to let the Shakti move and meet the Shiva. So that, like, right away, it's like, whoa, humans, like, they can have sex for pleasure. And in fact, most humans are having sex for pleasure, not to reproduce. And also, we can also just have tantric sex, meaning we can have sex but just not release the semen, which is, again, it's just very uncommon in animal kingdom because they don't even understand that concept. So you could see already, and I can give you countless of examples here. I mean, we make music, we make poetry, we have this, we are able to make this complex technology. I don't have to go on to show you just how similar but also how vastly different a human being is. A human being is like the most alien thing to this plane, to this flat plane. Okay, human is very alien. Okay, so you could see that we act like animals, but also like we're vastly different in our behavior, in our actions. Okay, so that's very important to keep in mind as we continue to dissect and observe and contemplate a relationship as humans towards the animal kingdom. So I'm going to go ahead now, after having demonstrated the case for you, and trust me, I could like go on like another 50 examples of just how vastly different humans are to animals, just to show you like it's just different. We're not saying better or worse, we're saying different, right? So I'm going to make the case now, the statement, and I'm going to make the case for it, that animals, the relationship for humans or animals in relation to humans are little brothers and sisters of humans. Okay, and I'm going to make the case for it, and I'm going to tell you why I think that. So I'm 13 years older than my little sister. I have a little sister, right? And I'm 13 years older than her. So when I was 13, she was born. And often, let's say, my mom, because she's taking care of her, my mom would leave her at home and then would tell me, you make sure you keep an eye on her. Or she would tell my sister, my other sister, which is pretty much my age, just a year younger than me, a year and a half younger than me or something. Okay, so let's say she's my age, just for the convenience sake. Let's say she's the older sister of the little sister, right? So she would tell me or tell my sister or tell both of us, hey, keep an eye on her, right? Because why? She's her little sister. She's vulnerable, she's naive, she's trying to make her way, getting to know this world. Okay, she could hurt herself, she could break the glass, she could break things, so it's like, keep an eye on her, right? It's your little sister. You have a little brother, little sister, little brother, right? And you keep an eye on them. And it's the same thing with animals. There are little brothers and sisters. And us humans, with our superior intelligence, now you could say, no, look, but animals display intelligence that we do not as humans have. Very true. And I'm going to use that little brother and sister analogy again, okay, in a second, to show you. Yes, it's true. Every animal has certain intelligence that seems like we humans don't have access to. But overall, from the greater picture, humans have superior intelligence. Now, I'll give you an example with the little sister again. So, as let's say I'm watching my little sister, which of course I no longer do because I'm not 13 years old and she's not 1 year old anymore, right? As I would watch over her, as she's growing, she's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I watch over her, and sometimes I take her for a walk and make sure I hold her hands and make sure she's not suddenly a car suddenly gonna run her over. She's gonna make something she's gonna do something naive and hurt herself, I would learn a lot from her. I would realize, wow, she has certain intelligence, like, wow, you know, she's so spontaneous, she's so innocent, she's so honest, you know, she's so, yeah, just so open, right? She learns quick, she's got sense of humor. I would just learn a ton from her, right? I would see that there's certain things that, you know, maybe me as a human adult, I seem to have either lost or not exactly possess. And so, yes, there are things we can learn from animals. If you have a pet, you probably learned a ton, still learning a ton from your pet, okay? There are lots of things that we can learn from animals. They have certain abilities, intelligence, you know, their senses. Look at dogs can smell 100 times or something as better than humans. They can help us with certain things, right? You know, a dog's sensing ability, you know, if dogs are used to sniff for drugs and stuff like that, right? So yes, of course, there's certain intelligence, certain certain intelligence, that the abilities, strengths that each animal possesses that we just don't have, and we can learn a ton, and we could rely on them even for those things. We can form a partnership where, you know, we could have a symbiotic relationship with certain animals, you see, to help one another. And so, yeah, I'm not denying that at all. I'm fully aware of that. However, at the end of the day, who's the caretaker of my little sister? It's me. You see, it's me. It's me, because I have more experience in this realm. You know, I have more discernment. I can discern more, right? Like children usually will just trust anybody, right? As an adult, I have more discerning skills to be able to trust, you know, to trust certain people, maybe not trust certain people right away. You know, I can discern, you know, you probably shouldn't just cross the street without looking. Children just do that all the time, right? So things like that. At the end of the day, who's responsible? My little sister, I am. And as I am taking care of her, and as I am, you know, providing her protection, love, and just being there for her, making sure she's doing well, she's growing, you know, she's not hurting herself, she's learning how to be in this world, I'm learning from her also. And it's the same thing. We are, at the end of the day, we are responsible for the animal kingdom. Because in the end of the day, my worldly intelligence, at least, is more superior than my little sister. And I'm there to be responsible to take care of her, and I learn from her these things that I do not possess, or maybe I have lost. In the same way, human beings at the end of the day have superior intelligence. We can contemplate, we can change our behavior. Like, that's the other thing with animals. If they pick up on traumas, it's kind of with them for the rest of their life. With humans, we pick up on traumas, but then as we're adults and we're like become aware, we can change our behavior. We can use affirmations. Another thing, look at dogs, for instance. They take like what, 20 to 40 breaths per minute, something like that, which is a lot. I think like it's somewhere close to 40, 30 to 40, okay? And that's actually contributing to low life expectancy, because they're constantly stressed. They're constantly activating their sympathetic nervous system. See, as humans, we take like, you know, we can take like 20 breaths per minute, but then we're like, oh, you learn. I'm gonna do breath work. I'm gonna slow down my breath to live longer. You see? Like dogs just eat junk food. You give them food, they just eat it. And that's it. You get, for the rest of their life, they'll have no idea that they should change their behavior, that this junk food is giving them pain in their bodies. Whereas us humans, we're like, oh wow, junk food is doing this to me. I'm not gonna do that no more. I'm just gonna eat fruits and vegetables. I'm gonna eat whole foods. I'm not gonna eat McDonald's anymore. Whereas, you know, a dog, you give him McDonald's every day, he'll eat it. He's never gonna stop. You see? So in the grand scheme of things, human being has the superior intelligence. Okay? And therefore, we are responsible towards the animal kingdom. We are the caretakers of this plane. If you study enough, everything in nature has a purpose. If you actually contemplate on this very deeply, you'll come to the obvious conclusion that human beings are the caretakers. We're the caretakers. And the rest of the animal kingdom, and the plant kingdom for that matter, are our brothers and sisters, little brothers and sisters, whom we love, whom we care for, whom we learn from, but ultimately whom we are responsible for their well-being. They're evolving too. We're all in the game of evolution. as souls, as spirits and souls evolving back to source energy. Okay, and so we are more the souls, the human vehicle is more evolved than the rest of the animal kingdom, and therefore we are here to evolve, to work on ourselves, to evolve ourselves further, but also we are the caretakers for our little brothers and sisters so they can grow up. Okay, so they can grow up. You know, I mean, for instance, take lions. Like lion males have like an average expectancy, a life expectancy of less than 10 years in the wild, because for many reasons, but one of them is because they just kill one another, like viciously kill one another. They lack the intelligence to realize that if we cooperate, it will be better for all of us. They do not cooperate, they just kill one another, they take over the pride, they kill one another, and viciously. Humans, we act like animals too, but then see, humans can be like, well, we probably should stop killing one another, and this, you know, happens over and over, and we should probably just cooperate. It'll be better for both of us. Let's do a little trading. Instead of you take over my land, I take over your land, we'll just trade. I'll give you the gold, you give me the wheat, etc. Okay, you see? So again, we are the caretakers, so these animals can learn to do that. So eventually in the future, on a more peaceful place, lions can finally be like, hey, we probably should just like cooperate instead of just constantly kill one another. You have your pride, I'll have my pride, you know, and I don't have to come into your pride and kill all your kids and kill you, and then another male will eventually do the same thing for me, because that's the cycle of karma, you see? So we are the caretakers, really. They are our little brothers and sisters, and we should treat them that way. We should look at them with awe, with reverence, learn from them, appreciate them, and be responsible for them, and make sure we give them the environment necessary and everything they need to grow up, because they're growing up too, and they've got a lot of growing up to do. Okay, they've got a lot. The animal kingdom is, you know, if you look at the animal kingdom, they're living in ignorance. They're naive. They're incredible. They're cute. They're amazing. They're beautiful. They're naive also, and they have a lot of growing up to do. Okay. The Buddha, when he went under the Bodhi tree and he got enlightened, he recognizes, like, wow, you know, he's like, he felt this compassion for the animal kingdom because he recognized they live in ignorance, right? They live in just pure ignorance, and they're so stuck in the karmic cycles of this earthly plane, because they're stuck. They're stuck. They don't know how to get themselves out of it. And we're the caretakers here to establish peace on earth, heaven on earth, and to give them the environment needed for them to begin to outgrow their predicaments, their karmic conditions. Okay, so animals are little brothers and sisters, and we ought to treat them like with the same love that we love towards our little brothers and sisters, with the same responsibility. You know, when your mom tells you to watch over your little brother or sister, you feel the sense of responsibility, the sense of protectiveness, the sense of care, right? So yeah. So that's how they are. And so therefore, you know, by killing our little brothers, would you kill your little brother and sister to eat them? You know, by killing them for food, so-called food, which is harming us, because it's not good for our bodies, right? That's, again, that's part of the karma that we experience, is we get you know, heart disease and all kinds of things because of how we're treating our little brothers and sisters. So that's not something that a human being, a conscious human being, you know, would do. It just isn't. Okay, it just is not. It isn't. I would never want to harm my little brother or my little sister. I would never. Well, I had a little sister, right? So I would never want to harm my little sister. Whenever I was entrusted to take care of her, oh my God, I was like vigilant. I watched over her. I made sure, like, oh, you know, you want to eat this, or you're hungry, or you know, and I would watch over her. Really, really watch over her. Okay, so yeah, you know. Yeah, when you contemplate, like, life, what is the purpose of human? What's the purpose of animal? What are we all doing here? You realize, with great power comes great responsibility. Clearly, as a human being, look, it's not hard to see. Look, human beings, they do whatever they want. They're on the top, whatever you want to call it, the top of the food chain, or the top predator, whatever you want to call it. Fortunately, we are being predators, because that's the wrong way to look at it. We are, simply speaking, the most intelligent being. Okay, we are the most intelligent being. and we are the most evolved being, the most evolved sophisticated vehicle being on this visible plane anyway, okay, on the visible, this what we see, you know, all the things we see. And we have a lot of power, and therefore, look, we have a lot of power. We could subjugate any animal we want. We have all this technology. You could shoot an arrow at a bear, shoot an arrow at a lion, shoot an arrow at a tiger, and they're sedated. And then you could do whatever you want with them. You know, you could sterilize them. You could do whatever you want with them, right? You could do whatever you want. You could neuter them so they don't have babies. You could make them less aggressive by giving them a shot of estrogen. If you want a lion you want to keep them calm, we could do anything. I mean, look, lion, like those animals, those vicious animals, like they'll destroy us in a one-on-one. But because we are so sophisticated and intelligent, we're able to subjugate all the animal kingdom. And then, for better or worse, because it is for better or worse, we could actually make their lives easier and create an environment of love and peace and harmony, and be compassionate towards them, and then that will help them be compassionate to one another. And then that will help them outgrow their karmic predicaments. Or we could do what we're doing right now and be assholes and bitches towards them. Okay? I'll never ever be an asshole or towards my little sister. I'll always give her the uttermost care. Okay? And that's how we should treat the animals. They're our little brothers and little sisters. And that's that. That's that. Okay? Alright, so thank you for watching this video. If you would like to donate to this channel, if you've got a couple of $1 million laying around, I will take that off your hands gladly. If you would like to willingly give it, I would appreciate it. And I also do consultations. If you would like to book a consultation, you can do so. There's a link in the description for both donations and and consultations. And I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.